Living in India was great, but it was time to move home.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. My husband Gozi and I are expats who have lived in both India and Morocco. I love to travel, and when I can, I love trying new foods too. Gozi and I are back in the US preparing for our next move abroad. Today, I will be discussing when expats move back home and why, and I will also answer the question, will I move back abroad one day?
What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing why expats move back home and why I moved back home as well. And of course, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. Do I plan to live abroad again one day? I will answer that at the end of today's video. Seeing family after living abroad for a period of time is probably one of my biggest reasons for moving back abroad. I miss my family, I do get homesick, and it's great to have those opportunities to visit family when you can, but when you are so far away, those options are definitely limited and only FaceTime goes so far. So for me, I do like that we live abroad for a chunk of time and then we do come back to the States for a chunk of time with the purpose of visiting family and doing a whole host of other things that really help us reacclimate and get ourselves kind of refreshed. Another reason why expats and travelers move back home is because of natural disasters, country disasters, worldwide disasters. Those things really kind of put a uptick in our emotions and make us have to really think, okay, is this life abroad something we really want to do at this time? Will our host country be able to support our needs at this time? And if not, what would be the options to get us home? And for my husband and I, we actually stayed in India for almost a year during the whole entire panorama. Like, that was intense. We were living, we were working, we were shopping, just living our lives during such a difficult time. And I know that India is going through that time still, and my heart and prayers are out to you all, especially my friends and folks out there that, oh my gosh, mean so much to me. But when you are an expat in a country that is being ravaged by some sort of disaster, it is difficult to maybe stay. And it does take a certain personality to stay when something feels maybe a little uncomfortable in your host country or things are not as expected. You really make that decision for you and your family. We never really talk about those with kids on this channel, but if you have kids, it really, adds another priority as to whether or not you and your family stay or if you go in the event of an emergency or disaster or something that is unexpected. And speaking of kids, if you have other priorities in your life, even if it's not a disaster or something crazy happening in your host country, your priorities change over time. And so maybe you do want to start a family and moving back to your home country is the best option, or maybe you want to do a new line of work or something else. It really just depends on the individual and their needs and their priorities. And with life, change happens, and with priorities, change happens as well. And I think that has become so much more evident to me as I'm getting older. I have been living this expat life for 5 years now, and I know my priorities have in fact changed, and they are definitely coming into play with the next decision to move abroad or not. Some people move back to their home country because they're still homesick. So I made a video all about reverse homesickness, but homesickness, we all are very familiar with that, especially as expats and travelers. You move abroad and things are just, again, not as you expected. And we'll have to make a video about expectations in the future. But if you are somebody that just longs for home, it's an easy decision to just go back. And that happens quite often. And there's no shame in your game if you cannot do it. If you cannot stick it out in the country that you have chosen to live in, there's no judgment, there's no shame. Homesickness is sickness. And it is one of those sicknesses that affects you mentally, and sometimes it could affect you physically as well. And so the choice to move back home is not a bad one if that's the choice that you need to make. And the last reason I have on this list as to why people move back home is a change of job, which is what happened in my situation. My husband got a new job, and his job is currently here in Washington, D.C., Virginia area. So we're here, and it's been a good ride. You all have seen some of the videos that I've posted on this channel about exploring Denver, exploring Washington, D.C., exploring Virginia. All of those things have been a part of my journey so far, and yeah, changing jobs is a thing. The question of the day for me, I have one for you guys at the end of this video, is do we, my husband and I, plan to move abroad again one day? And the answer is yes, of course. We love living abroad, but it is more difficult than you think. I think from the comments that I read on my channel, on my Instagram page, that you non-expat folks that want to be expats think that you just up and move, and that doesn't really happen, or at least it doesn't really happen for us. It takes us a while. We move for the job. My husband's job usually comes first, and then everything else falls in line. Even what I do for work falls in line after his job. And with that being said, it could take up to like 4 to 6 months to a year. It's not as easy as just like closing your eyes and picking a place on a map. It's not that easy. So we are currently going through that process now. We are just doing the narrowing down of a couple of places that we are looking at, and we are learning Spanish because we do plan to move to a Spanish-speaking country, and so in doing that, we are preparing ourselves to learn Spanish. I am a big planner. I love preparation, especially when it comes to my life and the amount of years I will be away from America, so it takes some time to make that work. For me, preparation also comes in the form of visiting family, which we talked about, eating all of the American food that I desire or should not be desiring. I don't know, you tell me. And of course, exploring home. Like I said, I'm doing tons of videos all about my journey here, reacclimating to the state, because that's a part of my journey. That's a part of the expat life, moving to another country journey. And so I want you all to stay tuned for more videos that reflect that. So if I'm going home and visiting family or staying at a tiny house or whatever the case may be, that is a part of the journey. And I'm so happy that I have this platform to share those bits with you, because once we do in fact move to our next place, it is going to be bam, and we'll hit the ground running. And I want to make sure that I'm showing all of the before parts, even if they're messy, even if they're beautiful, to show it all, because what is unfortunate, and I've done this in the past, it just seems like a person gets to their destination with travel or moving abroad or with anything in life, and we don't know the story, we don't know the journey. So that is the purpose of me making all of these different videos and sharing with you guys what it has been like being home. And I want you to stay tuned, especially to the next video, because we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Wow, that was a chatty video. I know what y'all are thinking, like, girl, you can talk for a while, but it has been a while. We have been traveling. We have been in Colorado, in DC, in Virginia, doing this, doing that, eating food, all the things. And so we are catching up. We are just hanging out.